you've only gone and done it. It's the Mad For It podcast. Your boys Tom, Adam and Josh. The boys on the road to Oasis Live in 2025. Now we've got a special one for you today. No news at all. No null spots. None of that nonsense. Straight into Liam's solo discography. We're going to be talking through everything post-Oasis for Liam. Something that we all have relatively linked to in some ways here and there.
Yeah.
Some of you guys might know it better than me and vice versa. So should we just start with like what we know of Liam's history and just kind of outline that like from a personal point of view? Like Adam, what's your connection to like anything Liam?
Well, we'll get onto some of the later things, but I think to start with like Beady Eye, like it the thing that struck me is just how much it passed me by at the time. Like they came out in, what was it, 2011 and 2013, those two albums.
Yeah.
Like that should have been like well on my radar, and it just completely passed me by.
But I guess where we start is 2009, the breakup of the band.
Yeah.
It's done. Oasis is finished.
But I'm talking about your relationship to it. Have you heard any of Liam's stuff?
Like, no, like the only time is when it gets into his actual solo career, which came in like 2017. Is when I started to get into Liam, like with Beady Eye. Yeah, that kind of, but I wasn't into Oasis in 2009 really that much. I found my own kind of thing of the music I liked. Oasis was a bit old-fashioned at the time. I'd listened to them when I was younger, but I was into my own thing. I kind of got into indie music, got out of that, got into like weird, heavier music, and I was like trying to find my own footing. So anything post-Oasis breaking up wasn't on my radar at that time. I was like snobby, like every kid is at that age. I was like 17, 18 years old kind of thing. It's like, I'm not listening to Oasis. I'm listening, have you heard this band? Yeah, no one's heard this band kind of thing. So you get that more pompous at that age. Yeah.
I think it's the same for me. I think, I think I had a little bit of Beady Eye when it came out of curiosity, but like the Liam stuff since then, and even including like High Flying Birds, like a lot of that just hasn't hit my radar. So that's what today's about. It's about going in, discovering it,
educating ourselves.
Is it any good? Learning about it. That's why we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to bring it all up. And maybe you can tell us if we're right or wrong. Yeah. And we can go from there.
I'm sure they will.
I hope so. Boys, are you happy for me to start with Beady Eye?
I think we start at the top.
I've got quite a deep dive here. I've had a listen to the two albums. So active from 2009 to 2000. I've got 24 here. That can't be right. 2014. Two albums. The first album is all tracks by Liam, Gem, and the Bellster. You got Chris Sharrock on drums, Jeff Wooten on bass, until Kasabian's guitarist Jay Mayer replaced him. So this is one I thought was interesting, and this is a two-pronged thing. Wikipedia says Beady Eye is not a spin-off band after Oasis. It's Oasis renamed to continue making music.
Okay, that's cool.
Following that, the first press quote from Liam: Oasis is done. This is something new. I thought the renaming of Oasis was kind of... That's a good way to kind of, it's slightly different, but you're still getting the same product.
I always felt it was like billed as this isn't Oasis. This is something completely different. Liam's haircut was different.
I did mention his haircut.
And they were all quite involved in it. I remember seeing an interview where it was like, I think it was Andy Bell was like, well, we can all actually like contribute now. Like, the fucking Whipmaster Noel's not here anymore. We're kind of actually, we could do what we want now, and it's probably going to be better, which it isn't.
No,
it's not.
Yeah. But do you remember the singles? Do you remember the Beady Eye?
Not from the time, but going back, I think the Roller and things like that. I remember the kind of.
But they didn't, even the later Oasis, which we've talked about previously, that there was still like hits came out. There was still like cultural things where like everyone would know that. It's on you hear it on the radio. Whereas like Beady Eye, maybe I'm misremembering, but I just have no. Like hearing it in shops or like hearing it on the radio, anything like that. I think
you must be misremembering because there was 5 singles from this first album.
Who was playing them?
I don't know. XFM. So Liam was reported to be feeling 1,000,000% confident that they could be better than Oasis.
Well,
so with that in mind,
God loves a trier.
With that in mind, let's dive into Different Gear, Still Speeding. So there was 2 free downloads of singles that came out before this, and then there was a total of 5 singles. So on the album, it got mixed favourable reviews, 65% overall, many saying it surpassed expectations.
Well, it depends what the expectations were there, doesn't it?
I mean,
really?
Post-Oasis,
yeah.
You want Oasis, but you just want 10% different or something different. But yeah, I mean, what would you guys have wanted out of this before I get into my thoughts and feelings?
I wouldn't want any of it, like, because it's probably with a lot of people, some of the diehards would have stuck with him. Like, yeah, it's more of the kind of thing, and they were trying to go for that. But I was over Oasis. There wasn't anything that I wanted from that. I don't want a band emulating an Oasis. It's all of the Oasis lot without Noel, which is interesting to see that they were all happy to keep going.
Yeah.
And Noel was the factor. He's like, I'm leaving and doing my own thing. And they were like, oh, well, we want to keep doing it. It's like, Liam's not that much of a problem to us. Maybe they know which side the bread's buttered, but they wanted to keep going. So it seems like Noel leaving for a spanner in the works for everyone, and everyone wanted to keep doing Oasis. And Noel was the one person who had had enough and didn't want to do it. Like, but overall expectation, I had no expectation.
Okay.
Beady Eye got back together. I'm like, well, that's cool. I've no interest in going to see him. Like,
Beady Eye at Nebworth 2030. They're back.
Playing definitely maybe.
Yeah.
Add any expectations or what you might think. It doesn't have to be a past expectation.
Well, I tell you, looking back with retrospect, there's one thing I will say is, even though I'm not that fussed for Beady Eye, really any of it, it is Liam working his stuff out.
Yep.
And actually, he then, when he goes and just it's under his own name, he sort of laid the groundwork for that to sort of jump out a bit more and be more successful. This is him going like, okay, now I've got to like write a bit more and I've got to do a bit more and I am the man now. I am the main man. There's no sibling rivalry, and he is working out, and maybe that's why he went into Beady Eye rather than just going straight to Liam solo, because it was like, well, I need to work out and get that confidence and build that up. And I think it's good as a sort of setting the ground for future things to be built on.
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of felt the same. I just kind of imagined it would be Liam doing his own thing, although we obviously have been through all the Liam solo, the Liam Oasis tracks that he wrote. Not the
mixed bag.
The mixed bag, yeah. So this is what I thought about listening to the first album today. So it's a clean sound, a brighter feeling. What? Oh, wait. This is what I thought about the album, having listened to it today. So there's a clean sound and a brighter feeling. There's a song called For Anyone, which must be the brightest Gallagher song ever. Like flower power, happiness.
Yeah.
I feel like... and then there's a gruff song called Standing on the Edge of the Noise, which he gets back into the old Oasis-y stuff. But overall, yeah, just very optimistic, I would say, about this album. And I think it really comes through in the production.
Yeah.
Like, everyone gets a chance to solo. Everyone gets a chance to play the guitar and do all their things. Although we do get some Hey Juding on Kill for a Dream, and we get some Shalalas on Wigwam. There's a mellotron flutes on The Beat Goes On. I can't put my finger on what Beatles songs it sounds like, Adam. So I'll put you here because you're going to have to tell me what Beatles song that sounds like now. My biggest insult, they started playing a song that has the My Generation riff, and I was like, okay, here we go.
Tom's at it again. Here we go.
No, but this is, okay.
Inspector Tom.
In a viral sense, this rivals Importance of Being Idle for me now.
Yeah.
This is Liam knocking someone off.
Yeah.
It's the My Generation riff. Dun, 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 dun.
When it beats in my mind, I just want to rock and roll.
And I was like, okay, what's this song called? And I came away from my work and had a look. It's called Beatles and Stones. So they ripped off The Who to sing about the Beatles and Stones. I wouldn't call it experimental. It's just way more free and playful. It sounds like a friendly atmosphere. Everyone in the band wanted to do the work, and they tried a lot with backup vocals and different instruments. The songs aren't padded with solos and long intros. And the last song does a build-up, which kind of gets really epic, but it doesn't go into anything, which made me laugh. So overall, pretty clean, pretty on the ball, I would say.
Well, it's funny you say friendly, because that's sort of what is a bit off-putting to me about it all.
Oh, you don't like?
Well, I don't know. It's just sort of...
but there's like an organic rebirth sense to it, which you think you would find, and I kind of enjoyed that probably the most out of this album. It's just like, without Noel the dad there being like, no, you can't do that, no, it's a C instead of a G, you just like, just go and have fun.
Yeah.
And that comes through really strongly in this, and I wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting like another sluggish late Oasis album I'd have to trudge through, but pretty happy with this.
No, that's good. So out of all the Oasis albums, how would you rate it? Like, would you put in there as this is the best Oasis album that never was? The band that Oasis could have been.
I don't think they hit the Noel level of hit.
Yeah.
The stadium sense of hits isn't really in here. But as far as just like guys just working it out, figuring it out.
I think Beady Eye is sort of in a way notable for that lack of a massive smash hit, which both Noel and then Liam solo had.
Yeah.
Those sort of ones that, your dad would know that sort of song. Whereas I don't think anyone, anyone recognises those Beady Eye songs in the same way.
Yeah, I wonder if it went anywhere beyond featuring a song on like a FIFA game or something. Like,
Yeah.
I
that
can't,
was
like,
the
They must have been all over FIFA at the time.
I have no recollection of any Beady Eye at all, and it's like, granted, there's another album here that we need to cover.
Yep.
So maybe let's go into that then.
Well, in between that, initially they were hesitant to play Oasis songs, but they played Wonderwall at the 2012 Olympic closing ceremony before getting to work on their second album, B, which came out in 2013. Liam wanted to call it Universal Gleam, but got outvoted. The controversy over a semi-nude woman was banned in several places, and Liam was quoted as saying, "It's not porn, is it? Come on, it's classic. A classic nipple." So he knows his art. He's going into this, Beady Eye 2. And can I just say straight off the bat, I thought this was horrible.
Oh, tell us why.
In the most black and white sense, from the optimism of the first one, and actually so much so that I listened to the end of the first album into the second album.
Yeah.
And the production.
Yeah.
They got a guy that did Dave Sitek that did TV on the radio and Yeah Yeah Yeahs, very like 2008, 2007 kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think he did a horrible job trying to sound ahead of his time. I don't know. I've done music long enough, but compression. You take away the top end and the low end, and you get this middle thing where it doesn't peak and it doesn't.
Yeah.
And
flipped.
the whole thing sounds like it's like a iPod commercial or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it just prevailed all the way through so much that it really affected. Second Bite of the Apple is the worst song. It was also a single, and the lyric from that is "Tickle my feet with the NME." So that's just like. It's got
Enemy rated 5 stars. Yeah. We got mentioned in it.
So they got a 59% Metacritic review, but to me, it just sounds horrible. That freedom and optimism is gone here. A quote from Liam saying the debut was so, but I think it's way more bearable than this. I'd rather put that first album on again. And actually, I did after listening to the second one, just to be like, I couldn't believe the differences were so strong. It's over an hour with 15 songs. 7 minutes of lazy hip-hop trip-out sections on Don't Bother Me, and I wish they hadn't. They do a song with some like reversey, spacey effects, but it's like too little too late, really. More acoustic as the album goes on, which means less shit production, but then it starts to sound like saggy Oasis again. So you've got the two worst halves of like trying to do something new and fun and like modern, and then just kind of quitting that halfway through and be like, well, let's just do the old stuff, which didn't work before. My final thoughts for this album: it's a great advert for the first album because I wanted to go back and listen to it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I wonder what people might think about production and stuff. It's like the first song had this, those kind of songs where they take all the bass out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like a dance thing. And then when you bring the bass in, everything widens up, everything comes into color.
Yeah.
I thought at the first song they were going to do that, and then the whole album just sounded like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't. So you know me, I am one to complain, but I was very optimistic at the first one, very upset by the second one. I think that's interesting. I'm glad I've.
And do you think the second one is why then Beady Eye finishes?
Yeah.
They kind of just disappeared, didn't they?
Yeah,
Like
fizzled.
out
They're
of
sort
nowhere.
of together a little bit longer, but it didn't seem like they were.
I think they must
doing
have paid
much.
like top dollar to do this second one, and this was like trying to get them into the zeitgeist of, like, oh, we're with the big boys.
Yeah.
But and they just I think it really affected them negatively.
I think, and there was the High Flying Birds album probably came around the second time as this Beady Eye album was out, and to more success, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that must have damaged like the ego. It's like, well, we're better than Noel. It's not just him. He wrote the songs, but it wasn't him. It wasn't just the songwriting. And then a Noel Gallagher album comes out, and it's people are like, yeah, it's good. Like, oh yeah, Noel Gallagher's songwriting's there. And then I'm like, oh fuck. And Liam's like, fuck this. I'm done with this shit. We're getting very to little return on this kind of thing. It's like they wanted to step back into it, arena kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Just be back in the same spot, playing everything, same accolades, but no, they weren't getting it. And that's why they died very soon after.
Yeah.
So that's the end of Beady Eye then.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, gone and slightly forgotten. I'm sad to say. And Liam's never really sort of went into massive detail about why they split up, but it seems like lack of success. Second album is not as well received, and he's ready to move on, really. And then he reinvents himself as Liam Gallagher, which
who's this?
is quite handy, really, isn't it? Yeah, capitalise on that Gallagher brand.
Oh, you got it.
But yeah, there's a 4-year gap between the end of Beady Eye and then Liam coming out with his own stuff, which is As You Were, his album from 2017, which, I don't know, I think I said a minute ago that if he'd come out with this as his sort of, this is me, I'm out, I think it'd maybe been a very different story rather than this sort of Beady Eye thing. Because, well, I don't know, I think there's some like great songs on that first album. Wall of Glass is great. Paper Crown is good. For What It's Worth is decent. There's like plenty of stuff on there. And I guess one of the criticisms of this album would be, and this is one we've had of Oasis albums as well, which is starts off pretty strong and then drifts in the second half. But there's enough to like at the start of the album. And I don't know, I think it shows Liam is improving his songwriting ability as well, which I think is really coming out to the fore a little bit. And maybe he's used that Beady Eye time as a testing ground, and now he's sort of reaping the rewards of it.
Yeah. I think he had a lot of help on these albums with other writers. He's admitting he wrote some stuff, he wrote music to it, but he had other writers on it. And yeah, like when this album came out, at my work we have Radio X, Radio 1, and Liam Gallagher was in heavy rotation on that, like Wall of Glass, and it was a good song that had come on about, this is cool. Unlike Beady Eye, a single that I wouldn't remember, I would actually like Wall of Glass, and I remember thinking this is like, if this was an Oasis song, this would be great. This would be a great Oasis song to come back from. But I think this extra help that he was getting from other people, other songwriters, and I think I've mentioned to you guys off the podcast, just the idea of, I think songwriting changed, and the way we analyse older songs, like Noel and that Liam and that were looking back on old Oasis stuff and not hitting the mark of their old sound. This isn't quite the old sound, but people are very good now at emulating older sound and can pick at that Oasis thing, because it's heavily, Liam has always stuck with an Oasis feel. There's some kind of different droplets of colour in there, but I feel whoever he's got around him are nailing, like, this would be a great evolution of Oasis, and something that, like, Noel was singing on it, Liam was singing on it, you'd be like, they're back, and this could be an album that's like their third best album after, like, What's the Story, and Definitely Maybe, like.
But it's interesting you say about the help, because the producer on this is a guy called Greg Kurstin, who in rock and roll circles hasn't done much, but he's like such a pop music super producer. So he's done like Adele and like Pink and Sia and all these ones. And you know, I'm less of a pop music fan than I am a sort of indie kid. But the sort of pop songs he produces, you're like, these are great pop songs. And I think that little sprinkling of that guy, and that's not to say this producer guy's never worked with rock acts, because I think he did some Foo Fighters songs as well, but he is bringing that sort of, right, well, you want this to be a hit, right? And I think maybe scarred a little bit by the Beady Eye days. He's like, I need this little bump to be like, right, well, what is going to get on Radio 1 and get played 10 times a day, and what is going to get me to that next level? And but I think it shows, and it's all the better for it.
Excellent. Well, that sounds like what they tried to do on the second Beady Eye album, and just picked the wrong guy.
Yeah.
If he came out with this first album, made it in 2011, it probably wouldn't have been this album. It would have been somewhat more in akin to Beady Eye, and not even hit that kind of thing. I think it's now left it enough time to forget about Beady Eye, enough of the Liam, like, Liam's back now kind of thing, versus, Liam hasn't left and it's kind of been a bit desperate. It's like, he's back and he's doing it, and it's good. Enough time has passed, I think.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the thing about getting radio airplay and Radio X specifically, because the second album, which is Why Me, Why Not, which came out in 2019, I have a huge memory of the song called Once, which is off that album, which is an excellent song, the Liam song. But because when lockdown happened, and you might remember all the albums got like pushed back and everything got like cancelled or put on ice for months, that was I think that was one of the later Liam songs to come out from that album. And that got played on Radio X, and as I listened every day in lockdown, 10 times a day, but not just for a few weeks until then. It felt like the 6 months of the first lockdown. So I heard that song way more than any other.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I think it's a good song, although it does have that sort of like haunting, taking you back to lockdown-ness to it. But also because it's a bit slow and it's a sort of a slower pace song. Maybe it was kind of fitting for that bad time.
Okay,
that's interesting with that, because I don't know anything really off that album, and it's because it was lockdown. I wasn't at that job anymore, and I don't listen to the radio normally anyway, so I wasn't
I needed the company. That's why I had the wireless on.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
I
Wallace
wasn't
and
in
Gromit.
that circle, so I missed out on that completely. It's like I wasn't going to be seeing live kind of coverage of that because there was none. So any of the supplementary stuff that might have got to me didn't get to me at all, and it's like, so I missed out on that album completely. Whereas Wall of Glass and all that stuff, I was like aware of it and like knew the singles on that.
It's funny in terms of like the makeup of that album though, because I think again it is like the first one, As You Were, in that there are some great songs on there. Like I think Once is great, Shockwave is good, which you probably heard, and yeah, there's some other ones as well that are good. Now That I Found You as well was sort of a good vibe. It's not as good as the old Oasis, but it's pretty good, I think, for sort of album 4, if we're counting Beady Eye and those Liam ones.
We are in this.
To be putting something like that out, I think it's pretty good. And that's not to say there aren't some tracks that I don't like, which there are, but
Bless you.
Thank you.
well, that's what he thinks of the album. But in general, I think these, and it was kind of nice how we sort of divvied up 2 albums each. I think the 2 I got really work as sort of like a couple, in that it's Liam finding his voice, he's bringing in help, and it's all the better for it. And yes, there's misses, but there's some really, really good stuff on those 2 albums.
So was this the albums get better incrementally? Would you say?
I think they're on par. I think maybe the first one edges it slightly for me, but I think I wouldn't say this is miles above the other one. I think they're both pretty decent.
Okay, that's great to know. Thank you for your review.
Anytime.
And your research.
And it's good because when Liam came back with that, there was a new energy of him coming out. Because when he did that first, it must have been from the first album. Like, it's to fucking repeat it. He played like second to headlining at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And then he came out and it was just young people all in the crowd, t-shirts off, flares going.
Sweet.
The energy was there. Like when he came back and played these, you'd see videos and it was young crowds like playing Transmit Festival and stuff. And I think he did like Don't Look Back in Anger. He did one of them, or he did Wonderwall or something.
Yeah.
Stand up beside the fireplace and take that look from off your face.
Just him like a cappella, which was cool.
Yeah.
And he had this kind of thing, and I noticed that when he first came back, it was like, Noel's been about, but it's kind of a bit stuffy.
Yeah.
When Liam's back and it's younger people like, oh, fuck, we have to go see this guy. Like, amazing. He's going to play, and we've got to see Liam. Liam's a cool guy. He like solidified as an icon to younger people younger than us who were in there, like who were 18 at the time, and that to him he's an icon. Where we existed with him, and it was like, oh, he's kind of an icon, but he was, like a Kurt Cobain kind of almost thing of like, oh, well, I wasn't around for this. Oh, but he's back, and we can see this like rock and roll star, and so I think that shows a divide between the two of them.
And I think him bringing the Oasis songs back into the repertoire again is like a bit of maturity, and him recognizing a lot of things. Where in Beady Eye there was obviously like a reluctance to do that, and now he's like, I sang these songs, like he wrote some of them as well. Like he's more than entitled to play them live, and actually that's also what the people want.
Exactly, and he knows that very well. Like if it's not a 50-50 split, it's a more 70-30 split of his songs. But
can I just say on the point about Oasis songs, it is incredibly annoying when you try and listen to just Liam Gallagher on Spotify, because how many live tracks that are Oasis songs, just him doing it? It's like MTV Unplugged. He's just doing all the Oasis, like the Spotify sessions, all these Oasis songs, which is fine, and they've got a place, but you can't listen to like a Liam Gallagher playlist on there without it just like jumping back to Oasis every second song. But I suppose that's where he is, and that's
he's accepted it. Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on to the next album from Liam, which was "Come On You Know" from 2022. So I hadn't listened to this album before we did this subject, but I heard the singles, and it was "Everything's Electric," I believe, was the first single. Yeah, and it's wicked. I heard that, and it's like, this is really good. Like another great
sequel to She's Electric.
It is, exactly. Everything is now. It's not only her, he's past that now. It's like superficial. Everything's electric. But and it was great. And he played it at the Brits, and it was like a really good performance. It looked cool. So I was like interested to hear what this album was like, because he had another album come out soon after this, and he has a Nebworth gig as well that he played. Yeah. And I was so surprised by this album.
Yeah. Really?
Like production-wise, his vocals sit in a weird place of, maybe they got a bit of distortion on them, but they never reach a certain thing. His vocals are a certain way throughout, which I think is a bit weird. If they had a bit more dynamics in them in the mixing, I think it'd make it even better, but they choose not to do that, maybe out of ability. But yeah, I think everything, the opener on it, More Power, is so good. It's kind of like a start with like, I think it's like children, like kind of a choir, like you can't always get what you want kind of thing. Maybe not quite to that extent. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. But it's a great opener. It's like really going, and it's like, fuck yeah. I was like listening to it. I was like, I really want to, I'm in on this. Like, let me see what more we've got here. And then you just keep going through, and it's like, good opener. I wish it built up to more of a climax.
Right.
And then, it's like, it basically, he puts like words on it, and he emphasizes like father, mother on the ends of like accents of, and it's like funny, but yeah, great. The guitar sounds good. All the instrumentation sounds good, but it's pretty much the same throughout all these. Like all the songs are like really good, and there's a bit of diversity with some of them. Yeah, and there's the other track over, there's a like Moscow Rules, and it's very kind of Soviet sounding, like the song Those Were the Days, My Friend. It has that like element to it, and it's really good. And like it's a bit of a divergence from the other stuff. Like there's another song in there that sounds like a reggae kind of song, which is like my least favorite.
Right.
Like rocky chorus. Rocky chorus and then a reggae verse kind of thing, which is funny because we watched a parody in the Oasis parody, and they're talking about like, oh, we did it, and it sounds like us, and it's a reggae thing. But Liam did it. But so there's this diversity in it. But there's a lot of people writing songs on this, like contributing and writing bits to it. Like Dave Grohl wrote his Everything's Electric. I don't know what he did on there. I assume he just wrote the drum part, so they credited him as it. Ezra Koenig. Is that the guy from Vampire Weekend?
Yeah.
He contributed to it, but everything sounds so great on it. It's like an album that I will definitely go back and listen to. Right. And like, if it was an Oasis album, it would definitely be the third best Oasis album.
Ooh,
and it's that contribution. The laundry list of people contributing to it is massive, but that is how they should do it. And the fact that he could just play gigs. People wouldn't want that where he just plays gigs and to play Oasis songs, but there's some really good stuff on there that I feel is deserving. And I recommend everyone to listen to it because it's a great summer album, kind of like listen to it.
Well, it's funny you say a summer album because the accumulation of these three albums and him now, not distancing himself from Oasis is he plays Nebworth again.
Yeah.
But he needs songs like those ones you're describing to elevate that and actually make it like, oh, he's not just rinsing through some old shit.
Yeah.
And that, I think that goes on to the next album that he had, which was a Live at Nebworth with a DVD, or whatever you call it, movie, or whatever you have now,
CD
keys, all that stuff. But so he played that, and he did 2 nights at Nebworth.
Yeah,
kind of, he's back. I'm going to do this big thing. It's more of a statement piece of anything. Liam plays Nebworth, and he plays about 7 of his own songs and then 8 Oasis songs. So it's 16 on the album. There might have been a longer set list when he actually played live, but people went. Somebody was telling me that the tickets weren't massively expensive, and I think that was out of the hope of selling both nights out. Right. It was like 50 quid or something. They weren't planning to like scout people because if people had to go all the way to Nebworth,
he learned that lesson, didn't he? Next time around,
Oasis could pull that off, but Liam's not going to do it. It's like, just make it an event, sell the tickets cheap as the modern day lecture, and just fill out the place and have a night. But it's the same kind of thing. You're hearing Liam play Oasis songs. There's nothing remarkable about it. But it is a great example of what we're going to get from Liam when we see him this summer.
Right.
Like, his voice is in a certain way.
Yeah.
But it's funny because he plays Slide Away. But I think I made the mistake and said something the other day, but Roll It Over as well. He plays them both in succession. Oh. I think he plays Roll It Over and then Slide Away.
Sweet.
And it's like, oh, fucking, there we go. There's a giant song there.
Yeah.
And he picked it in his set to play it, and it sounds good, but it also fits his vocals because
it's a bit
he's very, in a way, he's not going to be able to sing.
Yeah.
In a way. So if you want to know what Liam's going to sound like, you can go back and listen to Noel do live High Flying Birds and listen to Liam. That's what you're going to get. If you expect anything more than these performances, you're going to be disappointed because there's no miracle serum they're going to consume.
But that's the nice thing about all these 3 albums is he's now also writing for his voice as it is now, and there's more of an acknowledgement like, this is what my voice is like, let me write towards that, rather than like trying to get that old sound, which is never going to happen, or trying to go super high and you can't hit it anymore. Like, that's such a benefit of all three of these albums, I think.
And it's good, again, it also adds to the thing that young people wanted to go see him, and everybody went, and it was like, I remember seeing like a video, I'll never be able to find it. It's like on Instagram or something, it was like people just filming like how many sambas they could see at the Liam Gallagher gig, and it's just a compilation of all the people walking past in them. But yeah, it's great that he's getting like a young audience. I don't know if they're listening to the music, like, but if they are, that's cool. Or if they're just there for the Oasis nostalgia.
Well, judging from Spotify, they're all listening to the old Oasis songs because that's in his like top 10.
Oh, okay.
There's like covers in there, which Oasis covers.
Well, you need that. It's like he's putting out music. It's good enough. That's all we can say, really. It's good enough.
It's good enough. I think it's better. I think it's better.
Best Oasis
yeah, I think it's better than good enough. You're underselling it. You're
it's
underselling
interesting.
it.
I think with saying that, if it was an Oasis album, I'd probably favour it way more than it just being a Liam. There's a biasness to it.
Sure.
And I don't know where that comes from, so I should look at it as it is. But I don't. I'm like, oh, it's good for a Liam album. Right. But it is good. I'm going to listen to more of it. But I wouldn't say I'd pick this over. Like, if Oasis did it, I'd be gushing over it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, that's great for Liam. Like, so it's unfair of me to be, but yeah, I recommend listening to that this summer when you're driving around.
Sweet. So,
do we need to talk about the sort of Runt of the Litter album, the John Squire album?
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
I heard the single off it, the first single where they're in a tunnel or something in the music video, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
Because obviously the default mode there is to just, for John Squire to write a Stone Roses song, Liam Gallagher to pretend he's Ian Brown and just give us what we want.
Yeah.
But I feel like that didn't really happen, and I thought it was still interesting.
It's interesting, but to me, it's interesting like a sort of oddity.
Yeah.
That this thing just sort of popped out, and it's sort of also now looking back, very weird timing. Like it came so close to them getting back together as Oasis.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they didn't know, maybe they did.
Well, yeah, I don't know how long it was sort of gestating before they released it, but the release date to then Oasis coming back is no time at all, really.
Yeah, you don't really get time to tour it or like do much with it. I mean, I know when they toured it, people went to see them and they played, what was it?
Famously, just played the album
and
then the cover at the end.
The cover, Rolling Stones cover at the end.
I think that's like, they have to do that because it's like not Liam, it's Liam and John Squire. So it's like, you can't just, John Squire's not going to just come in and be like, yeah, I'm just going to play a bunch of Oasis songs. It's like he was in Stone Roses, and he seems a bit cool, and he wouldn't probably want to just play Stone Roses songs badly with Liam.
Yeah, it'd be a bit of
so
tribute band, wouldn't it?
But that album's interesting because I think it's got one of the worst album covers ever made.
Yeah, they're sort of like washing up.
CGI washing up with all the titles. It looks so shit. But I thought that album was good as well. The guitar lines on it are wicked.
He knows what he's doing.
It sounds similar like Liam. I was hoping to hear more Stone Roses-y kind of thing. You hear that more in the licks that he plays in it. Yeah. But again, that was another album I was walking around today listening to it. And I was like, in the sun, I was like, yeah, this is a summer album, like listening to it.
Yeah.
It's got the same issue with the vocal mixing as the previous one. I don't think it's as good as the previous one, but I still think it's good. There's some like banging guitar stuff on it that's like really good. It's like, it's good to mesh that in. It's like Liam takes the Oasis thing, he just brings that whole thing. John Squire just brings like wicked guitar on it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And it's really, I definitely think worth listening to it. And it's like, it was getting favourable reviews when it came out, but...
And it's not that long, because that was the complaint about the gig. That turned out to be like an hour long, even with like the chatter and the changeovers and stuff.
I think that was short-lived because the next year, Liam went on tour and did Definitely Maybe tour.
Maybe. Yeah.
And I was expecting like, oh, is John Squire on that tour doing that? But he wasn't. It was just Liam doing it, and John Squire had to go back to whatever he was doing. It's like, yeah, short-lived, sorry, mate, I've got to make a boatload of money doing an album.
Do you think this is like an album contract thing? Do you think Liam signed on for 6 and number 4 is this because it will just kind of we can coast?
Well, I can see that, especially now Oasis are back in years to come. I think this will like almost be forgotten about, not because it's bad, but just because it doesn't have any sense of place around like anything else. Like, where did it come from? Why did he? No, but why? Like a genuine question. Like, why did he record this? It was just him messing about with a mate, or
I guess so.
He never.
That's what Noel does, isn't it?
But you think going back to Beady Eye and then going back to his solo thing, he's doing that because he wants to make something big and he wants to do this. Which again, like, how does this John Squire album fit into that? Like, they weren't going to become a double act, were they? Like, it was always going to be this like weird one-off thing, surely. So,
but it's I think it's more like a friend kind of dream project.
Just knocking about, having something to do, and just do it because they
Much
weren't
like
playing
this
like
podcast.
they weren't doing massive venues with him when they were touring with it.
No, it's
They're
like
playing
academy style.
Yeah, kind of
venues,
small.
yeah.
Like, it was like a smaller project. But yeah, it is a weird one to do. And then because they're quite close proximity, 2022 to 2024. It's a 2-year thing, and then he did the Definitely Maybe tour also in the same year as that album coming out.
Just cramming.
So I wondered if that fell by the wayside because Liam knew there was bank there. He was going to headline Reading Festival, play that, do every other kind of gig, and it was guaranteed. Like,
Well, what about if you could pair 2 other 90s guys together? So we got Liam Gallagher and John Squire, but what about, Sean Ryder and Jarvis Cocker? What about, who else we got?
What about Ronan Keating and Bonehead?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
that's
Bonehead and Keating.
Yeah. There you go.
Bone Keating. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't think I
What
can
about
tell
you?
that one.
No?
Who was Anastasia and fucking
Eminem.
Eminem, yeah.
Yeah.
Put them both together. That'd be sick. He did it with Dido. He could do
That's
it with
it, why
her.
not?
So,
Yeah,
Lightning
he's got a
can't strike
track
twice.
record.
you got that. But yeah, I think overall, I'm happy with Liam's solo stuff. Sounded weird of me being like, oh, it's not as good as Oasis. But I think it stacks up really well. And it's a good listen. But it's not you need to listen kind of thing. It's just, it is what it is. Like Beady Eye seems to definitely be a dud in his career. Like,
Oh, I wouldn't go as far as to call it a dud.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't. That first album is actually worth the time. I'd put that at like a soft 6.5.
that's it.
Whereas I put the second one at like a 2. Like,
Yeah.
I completely in the bin.
Well, we rank things out of 5 with
We
no
do.
half
So,
marks.
all right. So I would have put the Beady Eye album maybe at a 4 just because of how fresh it sounds.
Yeah.
After.
So that's better than most of the Oasis albums you've
But again, that's
previously
but
ranked.
that's not. Well, maybe a 4's a bit strong because I guess the first 2 albums are 5s. No, that's not it. I'll put a 4. It made me feel happy.
Yeah.
Made me feel happy for Liam.
Yeah.
The boys got to spread their wings a little bit post Oasis. They bodged it up on the second attempt, but yeah, like expectation versus reality was like, oh, all right, 65%.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you've persuaded me to be generous then.
Just
Right, I'll give As You Were 4 stars then, even though it was going to be a 3er. I'll give that 4 stars, and then the second one, which is a smidge not quite as good, I'll leave that stuck on the 3 stars.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think, Come On is definitely, as a Liam album, 4 stars. I
Nice.
give that 4 star. As an Oasis album, a 3-star thing. But it's good. It's a good album. I recommend it. And then the John Squire one, I'd say a 3. I didn't give it enough time, but if I listen to more of it, I think that could be a 4 as well. But as it stands, it's 3, yeah.
Oh, I
I
don't
got
know.
a feeling there's something in there to be found. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he's
It's
got such a good.
it's the music, the
He can
songwriting
do so
is
much more than Noel ever could. Like,
best they've produced in years. And even with Oasis, if they came with that and it was written by Noel, you'd be like, fucking hell, they've given it a good shake here.
Yeah.
It emulates what they were doing, but in a more modern way.
Right.
And the rest they take on it pay off really well. But sadly, that isn't it. So it's the best Oasis albums that were never Oasis albums. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Right.
And the live album is just a live album with Liam. So yeah,
Just clogging up Spotify.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it. It's annoying me,
the gap.
basically. That's why it exists.
yeah. But also one more thing, Liam had a clothing brand, Pretty Green, that he started in 2009, which our lad here got the idea into his head. Fucking what's he called?
Ian.
Ian Robinson.
Ian Robinson. He's like, you should do a clothing brand. Liam did it. He set it up. It was successful at the beginning. Continued to dwindle. Ended up getting bought out by JD Sports. You can buy it in Sports Direct now. Liam went quiet once the merger went. Liam disappeared from that brand. But that was his short-lived run.
So we know
10-year run in the fashion industry.
We know where to go for Wembley outfits then.
Yeah, if you
Go
want a
to
Pretty
JD
Green
Sports.
t-shirt, go to Sports
I
Direct.
probably would, wouldn't I? Like, did they do polo necks and the whole?
They've all got polo necks. Everything, even
I
the
thought it was
coats have
just
got
t-
polo
Yeah.
necks. Everything is polo neck. They've got polo necks on the sleeves. That's how polo-y Pretty Green is.
Well, now you can get a Pretty Green t-shirt, polo neck, and you get a free big mug with it. So
Yeah.
it
brilliant,
comes in the mug.
And the
like,
price
that-
tag is like, was $114.99, now $17.99. Like, whoa, what savings? Can't believe it.
Man of the people.
That's our guy. Right, well, that sounds like a great place to leave it there, gents. You know, if you've got this far in the video, thank you very much. You can like and subscribe. You can add a comment. What do you think about Liam's work and Beady Eye and all these kind of things? Do let us know. But anyway, it's not too long till the gig now, so we'll see you next Thursday. This is Mad for It. Cheers.